Greetings. This is Arvette McLean with Speak, the Universe Listens. New ways to view age-old challenges. Change your thoughts, change your life. Step into the bigness of you. Greetings, and welcome to today's episode of Speak, the Universe Listens. Today's topic is you, first and foremost. And I have Stephen joining me.
Hey.
Rodney.
Hey.
And Teron.
Hey.
How are you guys doing?
Good. Splendid.
Good. So today we're talking about you, first and foremost. So a lot of times when we talk about things as far as spiritual development, we do talk about ourselves and our own personal development. And people often wonder, like, okay, I want to do these things to help other people. And then it's kind of a direction to go back to yourself, point the finger back at yourself and get yourself straight. And so, of course, especially in a lot of I don't like using the word marginalized, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. In a lot of marginalized communities, a lot of times people feel like I need the whole community to move forward. And so whatever my actions are, I want to kind of be in the fight for justice, and the fight for bringing everybody up, and the fight for educating the world, that type of thing. And so today, since we all are in the same group of being of African American, we wanted to talk a little bit about how it kind of affects our community and the ideal of thinking of ourselves versus thinking of the community. So I'm going to let Rodney start with that.
Yeah, this topic came from a quote I seen. It says, "My biggest beef with the black excellence, representation matter, is seat at the table. One person's upward mobility does nothing for the masses, doesn't affect our material reality in any way. Collectivism and community does, though. Like, I'm so sorry, but your upward mobility is not a gift to the black masses. You have not cured our collective circumstance with your degree and your good job, and not with your fancy vocabulary. Neither have I. You are not the gift. Get real, I beg." So instantly, when y'all hear that, what y'all think about?
Yeah, I instantly disagree because, okay, I think there's a lot to pull from that actually. One, I think stepping on the movement itself doesn't help anything. I think the movement itself is representation, so you can't ask for representation and then dismiss the representation. But also, I think that yes, my fancy degree and my job and everything else that I have does help the others because, like we always say, once you see one, you can see anybody else do it. So the minute I did it, the minute it became possible for anybody else who saw me do it. And that's how I help the black community, and that is why my fancy degree matters.
I would say just listening to that, my mindset is thinking like it takes one to teach one. And then if I'm sitting back and I'm teaching somebody or showing them, about how to be a better individual, or giving them something of substance to better their self. So if they can better themselves, then all they're going to do is become contagious to the people that's surrounded by them, and then it's just going to trickle down to the next person, the next person. So I really think, if anything, just listening to that, we can help people. You can help somebody. Can we save the world? I mean, it's possible. It's possible, but like I said, I think it takes one to teach one. So if you can show somebody something that can benefit the next, that's one step in progress.
Yeah, I would say, kind of what Teron was saying, like, my black excellence or my success, it does affect my community because it's like being a shining light if your light is shining and you walk into a room that's kind of dim, the room automatically gonna light up,
Yeah.
and everyone else is gonna automatically see light. So I think your own individual success and making you the best you can be will ultimately help everyone around you.
Yeah, and I think when you have the mindset of one person's success doesn't help the masses, then I think you're kind of diminishing your own successes as well. If you can't see the greatness in somebody else, then you might probably be struggling to see the greatness in yourself, which is why you feel like, this one person doing this doesn't help the rest of the world. Wait, that's really because what you're focusing on right now is whatever you may have accomplished, it may not fill that void that you might be looking for, and you should probably search more inside to figure out, well, why do I don't want to say envious, I don't want to say jealous, I don't want to use any negative words on it, but why do I have this adverse feeling to this movement that has everything and nothing to do with me all at once? Nothing, because their individual accomplishment is their individual accomplishment, but everything because their individual accomplishment also allows me to know that I can do it. Like the minute I see somebody buy a jet, I know I can now buy a jet. And I know I said that before, but I just want to keep pounding that because, representation matters. The post said it, representation matters. And I think that in seeing everybody in their true light, that is the real representation, not somebody putting you at the table, not somebody moving you to the table, but being grateful that they're at the table and then being grateful that you also can be there, I think is it.
I sort of took away a little bit too, just listening to that comment. It's almost like a crab in a barrel type mentality. The person recognizes somebody's success, but yet you still have to sit back and say something negative towards it. But yet you know about success. You see what I'm saying? So it's almost like I think that's one of many issues when it comes to our community. It's really missing love. If I see that you're doing great, you're doing something that I have never done before, I appreciate you. I love you for that. I think that if everybody had that type of mindset and attitude, regardless of, if somebody is doing better than you, don't try to pull them down because you're not there. Sit back and try to figure out that, hey, what did you do to get there? Or say, hey, I'm proud of you. If you're coming from a space of love, you wouldn't even be thinking like that at all. And if everybody was on that wavelength, then I think we would be overall in a much better place, and then we'll start to get to a higher self gradually.
I remember being a kid, and my Uncle Harry, he had got a Porsche. And I remember being like that was crazy to see at that time. As a kid, it just felt like, wow, this is my uncle, and he has a Porsche. Like at the time, that just felt like, well, not at the time, because it's still a Porsche to the day, but it just felt like, wow, like I can do this same thing. Like this is literally my uncle, like one of the closest people to me, and he has this. Right. So that sparked me from a kid that I can do whatever I want, or I can have whatever I want, and that success is not far away.
Yeah, and I think we actually chose the perfect title for this topic as well. It starts with it's you first and foremost. Meaning, the minute you start pouring that love into yourself, it becomes easy to put that love outward, and it becomes easier to accept that love outward. So maybe the feeling of not being accepted by a group could simply just be you just need to put a little more self-love into yourself so that way you can feel that acceptance. Because I don't think anybody's creating any avenues where they're purposely trying to dismiss anybody away from anything, and I don't think anybody wants anybody to feel negative on their accomplishments, but I do think that it's hard to appreciate things until you're grateful for what you have within, but not for the things you have, but grateful for what you have within. I think is important.
Yeah, because to piggyback off what you said, when you have those things and have that love and you're leading with love, your first mindset is not going to think like that. Like, that's not going to be your first reaction to black excellence or somebody's success. You're just not going to be even thinking of that because you're going to be leading with love, and you're going to see the good in it all.
You ever been in a space as to where, like, let's say one of your family members or one of your best friends, they accomplished something that was just so great for them, and you've been so happy for them, you're like, yeah, you know, you're just rooting them on. Like, that's the type of feeling that I think we should have overall. Rooting the next person on, being happy about it.
So I think that what the person was expressing is something that, a feeling that they already know that a lot of people will attack that feeling. But it's a lot of people who feel the same way. And I remember for years, like I've always participated in the elections, voting, but I never was a believer in it. I only participated because my husband is really political. And so I would just say, well, who are you voting for? I just vote for who you vote for. But I didn't believe in it because I was always like, well, it's just a difference between Coke and Pepsi. I don't care who is in office because it's not affecting my reality at all. When I look out the door, I still see the same thing. So that was my attitude for a long time, and in some ways it still is, but for different reasons now. Now I still don't feel like whoever's in office is going to affect my reality. I decide on my reality. But back to this person, like they could very well look out into the world and it's like, I don't see anything changing. Like every day I still have to go to work and struggle. Like just because this person is in office, it doesn't put another penny in my pocket, you know. And so I think when we are sitting around saying what they should do and what they should not do and how people should feel and how the rest of the world should feel, we're doing the same thing that people who judge our group is doing. So the thing about having people of different race, people of different religion, people of different ideals, the difference is what causes creation. Like the more different you are, the more you push for something new. When everybody thinks the same, not that much changes. And so I feel like it's perfectly a wonderful thing to have people who are naysayers. Because then that makes us take another look and say, well, is there something we're missing here? And it's that second look that has the potential to create something really beautiful. Now back to the whole issue of you. What's the topic?
You, first and foremost.
You first and foremost, right. So a lot of times our attention is out into the world and we mind other people's business. But we need to mind our own business and make sure that we are being the light, being in alignment. It doesn't matter if anybody else is in alignment. Everybody in their own time. It's okay that they're not in alignment. Today, perhaps when they wrote that message, maybe they weren't in alignment. Maybe they still aren't in alignment. But we weren't always in alignment. And I'm not always in alignment. And it's okay. Everybody in their own time. So, but the whole point is to get yourself in alignment and stay there. And when you're able to do that, as they say, one person who's connected to their power is more powerful than a million who are not. And so we don't have to go out and try to fight the fight. We don't have to go out and try to, save the world and save the next person and bring the next person up. We don't have to try to do that. The only thing we need to do is remember who we are. And when we remember who we are, we'll go into a space and people are like, what? And it's almost like tapping them on the shoulder. And it helps them to remember who they are. And it makes them say, it's like, I don't know, it's kind of like you're talking to them. Your very presence is big enough to talk to the people around you without you ever saying a word. And when we're out in a space and we're saying, fight the power, and we gotta, fight the government, and we gotta fight these people, we gotta make sure we get the right things in place for our job, and whatever the fight is. When you're fighting, you're out of alignment. So that's the energy that you're putting out. When you're not fighting, that's when you're in alignment. When you're in alignment, that's when you have the biggest opportunity to make the biggest change. So that's when ideals flow to you easily. That's when your energy lines up with all the things that you want in life. That's when you pull all that stuff to you. That stuff comes to you. But if you're like, then you're going to get energy back, and you're cutting off the flow of the ideals that could have come to help you to make that next change, that next creation that we all would really love to see.
So we're gonna say
You got me, yeah. The minute I start saying that this person shouldn't feel this way or shouldn't feel that way, the minute also became the same thing that I was trying to help them not do. So, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so it's like putting your focus on letting your light shine, and putting your focus on being the best you can be and being in alignment will, in result, make everything else out of you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's, not even I think. I know that that's fully true because I've seen it happen before, like you just described. You can walk into a room and you light it up. So if you could do that to a room, what's stopping you from doing that to just magnify the room? You keep spreading it and you keep spreading it as big as your energy, and you can fill up that room with just as much. Yeah.
And then like you said too, I really think back off of what you were saying, everybody is entitled to have their own viewpoint and their own perspective. And it may not be the same perspective as, mine, yours, anybody else's, but it's okay, it's okay to be different, but as long as you're focusing on what's best for you.
All right, so with this conversation, like I said, it applies way beyond just African American people. It applies really to all people, because there's always something that, maybe we're fighting for, some place where we feel like justice hasn't been served, some place where we're feeling like somebody should be doing something else other than what they're doing. And a lot of times in those spaces, it's us who aren't as loving as we could be, when we're in the process of judging others for not being as loving as they could be. Just having that avenue open to realize that it's okay when people aren't in alignment, everything in its own time, and just making sure you get yourself into alignment. And so with this conversation, is there anything that you're taking away from it that's different, new, a new creation that's come out of this person saying what they said?
If anything, remembering, stepping in, when I step into the room, I'm already a light, So when people may come up to me and they may complain about X, Y, Z, or say something that's out of my energy, I recognize that I'm the light. I'm already in alignment with myself, and it's okay. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to judge. So that's something I'm aware of, but I had to get a reminder once again that, hey, don't judge. Everybody is right.
Yeah, I think this conversation for me was just a reminder, and I guess also confirmation that, hey, your excellence is enough, and your excellence and how you feel about yourself creates the world that you want to see outer. So if you want to see more Black excellence, focus more on really appreciating and valuing yourself and your whatever you deem as an accomplishment, whatever you deem as your high points, and you'll see that represented in the world.
I'll pick it back up there and say, it also goes back to, like Teron said, loving yourself. And when you have that true self-love and an alignment, then nothing else outside of you matters. But also, things outside of you will reflect how you feeling about yourself.
All right, well, thank you guys. This was an interesting conversation. All right, thank you for joining us. We hope you can take something home with you as well. And we look forward to chatting with you next week. Until then, this is our dad.
Let's see.
Right.
Teron.
Bye.